to the show, everybody.
Welcome, everybody.
Dear Austin. That's what we're calling this now.
That's what we're calling it.
Dear Austin.
Dear Austin.
And those who wish they were. So we have, our goal with this show is to assimilate.
That's
to
right.
help people that are either here and just don't know, or people who are coming and afraid.
That's right.
And we've covered this briefly in a recent episode. It is hot as balls.
It is
in Austin, Texas.
That's true.
So what do? We obviously we talked about air conditioning and that kind of stuff, but we wanted to, and actually this came as a result of a friend of mine. It was just like, hey, you should do an episode on. And folks, we listen to this stuff.
We do.
We're always listening and filtering
right.
and learning and meeting, and we're always seeking knowledge.
Because you know what? This is about you as much as it's about anything else. That we
more
do.
so about them than us.
No.
Let's get over yourself. I mean, come on.
You're right. You're right. I am the problem here.
We seek to help folks, just kind of assimilate. And so we just wanted to kind of share the water spots, if you will.
Because even though it's hot, Austin's still a pretty outdoorsy place, right?
It's one of the most,
people go out all the time.
Yeah.
Hiking. And so in the summertime, what do you do? How do you stay, connected with nature in a pretty beautiful place when it's 100 degrees outside?
105 to 112, yeah,
That's
absolutely.
Right.
So we're going to talk about some of the well-known, iconic, and then maybe share some, not as on-the-map type of stuff.
Right.
And share some. We're just sharing water activities.
That's
is
right.
what we're doing. I talked about Barton Springs last time.
Yeah.
So, again, it is, 60 degrees?
Yep.
68 to 70 degrees. Just knowledge
off
pops in my head.
Top of your head.
Knowledge just popped in my head. 68 to 70 degrees year-round. Now, you would think that might be a little warm, but when it is 105 degrees and you jump into a 69, we'll just call it even 69.
69.
We'll just use the abstract number
that's right.
69.
It means nothing.
The entire episode.
That's right.
There is no undertone to that.
Nope.
If you're getting undertone out of that, I have no idea.
I don't know.
So, and they do skinny dip there.
Sometimes.
So, yeah. So, when you jump into a 69-degree pool.
Uh-oh. He's broken.
Oh, here we go. When you are at a spring-fed water pool, it is amazing.
Yeah.
You jump in, and in the deep end, they've got, they got the diving board, and then they've got the part that you can jump off of, or that you can, the deep end, and you can get in from there. And I mean, this is not one of those put your toes in and just acclimate.
Yeah.
You got to go all in.
Yeah, really.
I mean, 68 to 70 degrees. But I'm going to tell you right now, you're in there, and then you get to that point where your teeth start chattering, your skin's blue.
Yeah.
Then you go out, you lay on the side, and it's you have a little blanket or a little nice big towel. You get the sun, and then you get the warmth, and it soaks into your skin.
Okay.
And then what you do when you start to feel a little warm again?
Get back in.
You just jump right back into the 69-degree water.
Here's the thing. So I would have an issue because here's what I do when I get into a warm pool. I will dip my toes in. I'll take some water. I'll pat it on the arms. Just get ready. Pat a little bit on the chest till I'm ready. And then, maybe I'll tuck the shoulders in. Maybe. So this it sounds like a challenge for me.
You don't like to get your hair messed up?
My hair, that's the problem. That's why I didn't learn how to swim when I was younger,
You know how to swim.
No, I can swim all right.
All right.
I could survive if I had to.
So tell me about, I've never been to the Barton Creek, the Greenbelt part.
Okay.
So you tell me about that.
Oh, it's pretty nice. There's a lot of dogs, because it's Austin. So, of course, there's a lot of dogs out there. A lot of people playing volleyball. You'll find people playing Frisbee, groups of people. And, you could always just show up. Pick-up games happen there on a regular basis.
It's like a party.
It's like a party. Yeah, it really is. It really is like a party. There might be some CBD going on when you're over there. So
Willie Nelson.
Some Willie Nelson's happening when you're over there. So, just keep that in mind. It's
marijuana.
It's fun, and then it's actually really nice. At a place that I used to work that we did not work in together. The office was located near the Greenbelt, so you could actually walk out the office and just kind of go for a little nature walk during your breaks and stuff. So the Greenbelt's pretty big. It kind of goes all the way around, the different places. So yeah, I mean, it's definitely a great spot for hiking. I think there's some rock climbing that happens there. My father-in-law, 62-year-old, might be climbing a rock when you walk by there because he does that in the Greenbelt. So, a lot of different stuff that you could do there. And there's trees. And so that's always nice in the summertime to find a nice tree to sit underneath and, enjoy the outdoors without the sun.
There we go. Hippie Hollow.
Hippie Hollow.
Hippie Hollow.
Here's the thing about Hippie Hollow. Okay. I moved out to Austin, didn't know anybody out here.
So you've been to Hippie Hollow?
I have not.
Oh,
I have not. But before I moved out here, I had a gentleman who I used to work with in Brooklyn who was like, he was the type of guy, if you got cornered by him, you knew you were in for like a good hour-long conversation that was just him talking at you. And so he was telling me about everything he knew about Austin, because I think he grew up in Texas. And the only place that he really told me was about Hippie Hollow. So there's this place, and everybody's there, and it's optional for clothes. Clothes are optional.
Yes.
18 years and older, so we're not like,
absolutely.
That's right. It's on Lake Travis, so it's, a really nice
I've been there.
Sunbathing spot. Have you?
I did not go in.
Okay.
Did not know really what it was. I just heard of Hippie Hollow.
Okay.
And then when I got there, I had my kids in the car.
Oh.
And we pull up, and I'm like, I heard about this cool Hippie Hollow.
Yeah.
And we get there, and the lady looks in the car, and she's like, "Sir, this is 18 and only. How old are?" And at the time, my kids were, I don't know, whatever age, teenagers, young teenagers, whatever. And we had to pay the $15 to turn around in the parking lot.
Oh, that's a bunch of crap.
I do have some people that are close to me that have been there.
Yeah,
and
I've had a couple.
Here's the reputation that I've heard.
Let's hear it.
Not a lot of younger guys there.
Right.
Pretty much girls and older men.
Okay.
And older women.
Yeah.
So I think it rings true with the hippie.
Yeah. So
if you're comfortable with just skin. Of any shape and size, you're not going there to just be like, it's not the Brazilian nude beach.
No,
let's just be honest.
Yes. Now, so I might not have been to Hippie Hollow, but I may have been to an establishment similar on the East Coast, and I would say that is right in line with my experience there. I was definitely probably the youngest man there by about 50 years.
I refuse to go to any clothing optional thing. It's just shrinkage is a reality, and I just
Well, see, because I'm afraid of water, so I don't have to worry about that.
Oh, see, and I just jump right in and come back out.
Right. Yeah.
All right,
but it's optional, so you can leave it on.
Yeah,
or put something really.
Somebody's gonna be like, you gotta be naked. We're all naked. Come on, get naked.
What about McKinney Falls?
Have you been out there?
I have not.
Beautiful.
Is it?
It's beautiful, and it's kind of cool. There's a couple of different spots that you can kind of jump into.
Okay.
But the main swimming hole, I would say, is it's real pretty, nice clear water, and it's not too far in. And you go in, and then there's you can go down the trail, and then there's another little spot that you can get into the water, and it's a beautiful park as well. So it's not so McKinney Falls is a park, and then they have a couple of swimming holes there. Okay. And, it can, again, most of the places we're giving you, folks, other than probably Hippie Hollow, they're going to be busy.
Oh,
they're definitely going to be busy.
Yeah. You got to get there early if you really want to get a good spot.
Yeah.
That's really what it comes down to. Don't think you can get off work and then all of a sudden just, I'm going to head over to Barton Creek. Nah, it's just not going to happen.
The other thing, one that I would say is not as advertised.
Okay.
Jacob's Well, famous across the world, right? And I went to Jacob's Well.
Right.
And I thought, man, this is going to be this just huge. It's like this. I kid you not. The hole to jump into is like this big.
That's not big.
And then underneath there's a cave, and that's cool. But like people have swam down into the caves and like gotten lost and died. So like, I think. Yeah, fact check that.
yeah.
He's
seriously.
a liar.
Seriously.
He's a liar. It's like that Instagram spot You know what I mean? That everybody gets this like perfect picture of.
Yeah.
And then when you pan away, you're like, it's a hole this big that goes into a cave. Yeah. It's also you got to call ahead to make sure, because they have to like make sure the balance of the water is right. Like you can't just go there any day and jump in.
It's probably better for the environment.
Well, and that's why they're making sure that the balance of the water is right. And all of that. So Jacob's Well is kind of another cool one. Where have you been?
So around Austin, haven't been in the city limits, but I have gone down to San Marcos, and I've done some kayaking down there. Actually through REI. You can actually sign up. They'll take you out onto the water. You'll show you how to kayak. I did one at night, and I did one where we were on the water for about 2 or 3 hours. They drive you out. You bring a little lunch with you. I was nervous. I'm not much of a swimmer, right? Like I mentioned. So we got out there. The water was a little choppy. I was like, oh, what's going on? It took the current took me somewhere. I hit a tree and I fell out, and then I was like standing. And so I was like, oh, this isn't bad. I just stood up. I was like, oh, everything was fine. But no, it was a lot of fun. We've actually taken my kid out. There's the Texas Rowing Company, which is right on Caesar. They have a special, I think it's called Rowing for All, and they do a summer camp. So they take all the kids out, kids with special needs. Yep. It's actually more for blind children, and so they'll take them out so that they can experience the water. They've even had kids, who are severely handicapped, and they just kind of strap them into the boat so that they can still get out there and experience what it's like to have the wind on their face and feel the water around them. So it's a very inclusive community as well. So don't be afraid to try to find different things like that around here, because you can definitely find that for sure.
There's a really cool spot. It's Krause Springs, I think is how they pronounce it, and it's actually privately owned. And when you go out there, they have a natural fed pool up top that's kind of like, it's like a tiny version of like Barton Springs, like 68 to 70 degrees. But then you kind of go down in below, and then they have like a little waterfall and then another natural springs area that's not a carved out pool. But definitely you need to make reservations to go there, and you can actually camp out there. Cool. And they say, and I talked to the people that live on there and own it, and it's like, third generation, like their grandpa built it. I mean, it's when you go out there, it's really cool. They also have like a little like garden, and like when we were there in the spring, so there was a few people swimming, but like butterflies and just it's definitely a destination. Okay. And then with the swimming, and then you could camp out there and all that, but you definitely want to call ahead and make a reservation because it can get, especially on the weekends, get super busy.
And what was the name of that again?
That is Krause Springs. I think
Springs.
It's about 30-45 minutes outside of Austin, depending on where you're leaving from. Yeah. That's pretty awesome. Yeah. And then I used to live up in Georgetown. Yeah. And in Georgetown they have Blue Hole. Okay. And it's basically the whatever river it is that runs through Georgetown. I can't remember, but it's dammed off, and so up in this upper part, it's real deep, and there's some cliffs that like the college kids will jump off of, unless the like parks people, they like kind of crack down and then back off and crack down and back off. Yeah. But that's a real, again, nice cool water. Yeah. Great natural swimming hole up in Georgetown. Okay.
Up near me, there's a nice little water park up there that they do Jaws on the water every year. So they they put a big movie screen up, and they give you a float, and you kind of just float in the water, and you watch Jaws, and there's little guys that are scuba. In scuba gear, and they're coming up and touching you.
No, there's not. Yeah. They do that?
Yeah, for sure.
Well, I was going to go, but I'm afraid I would punch somebody.
Yeah, they'll blow bubbles between your legs while you're under there. Well, if you're like floating the right way, yeah. I know.
Speaking of floating.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's probably the biggest thing that people do around here, right? Would you say?
That's one of the, it's kind of like everybody goes floating a couple times every year down in San Marcos.
And it's like San Marcos. I remember back when I was in high school, all the football players, and they'd go, we're going to go do some lifting. And everybody kind of knew what it was, even though they were lifting weights, right? Around here, they'll say, I'm going to go float. and they're going to go drive to San Marcos and float the river, but it's one word now because it's so prevalent. So if you ever hear anybody say, I'm going to go float, it's not about like root beer float or anything like that.
They're not just going to go sit in a pool and just like...
Yeah. No. They're going to go down the river in San Marcos. They probably have an extra float with them that has no people on it because it might have other beverages in it.
Yeah, absolutely. That's definitely, and sometimes that gets so crowded and people will like tie their, you know, and you'll get like a group of like 30, 40 people and they just like, it's like a massive just thing coming down and just, you know, drunk people. But, I mean, if that's your scene and you like that kind of stuff.
And I feel like that's the only way to be drunk in public when it's 112 degrees out is to be in a body of water.
But let's wrap this up. Let's talk about a few more places.
Right. Paddleboarding. There's a big charity event every year, Damn That Cancer. And it's just a bunch of people on paddleboards. They're paddleboarding for hours, you know, and they raise money.
Well, but that's every day. They have a lot of...
Yeah, that's true.
And we're not talking about the paddleboards, which they do have on Lake Travis, by the way. Or not Lake Travis, Ladybird Lake.
Ladybird Lake.
We're not talking about the paddleboarding with your little feet, and your, which they have those. We're talking about the stand-up paddleboarding.
Giant men. Yeah.
And we have a couple water parks.
We do.
We have one in Pflugerville, which is actually where we're sitting this week at the ATX Podcast Studios in Pflugerville. So, folks, our point is find some water.
Find water.
Get in it.
Drink
alcohol.
Feel free.
Get naked.
If you want.
Find the 69-degree water.
That's right.
And enjoy Austin for what it is.
That's right.
Embrace the heat.
Embrace it.
By getting out of it.
That's right.
Dear Austin.
Dear Austin.
Good night.